Hello everyone, this is Geisha. This is part 2 of making a journal or notebook. And we're now trying to figure out the cover. So last week, or in my last video, I mentioned that I was going to use this as my cover. I have changed my mind to using fabric attached to a file folder. We're going to calculate how to cut everything. My notebook is about 8/3 high. Preferably when you add a cover, you'd want 1/8 of an inch overhang on both sides, which makes it 8/5/8. Then my book is 5/3/8 wide. Add 1/8, this makes it 5.5. Now, because I am going to use a file folder, I would like my file folder to be a little shorter than that, and my fabric a little bit bigger than that. So my file folder will be cut 11/3/4 by 8.5. And when I place this inside, it has just a little bit of overhang on all sides. That's what I would like to see. Then my fabric is cut 12.25 by 8.325. If I place my file folder on it, I will have just a little bit of overhang on with my fabric. And I have to decide yet what I am going to use for my inside, if it's going to be fabric or if it's going to be paper. That I don't know yet. Also, I am going to probably add some embellishments on the front. And when I figured everything out, I will be back to show you more. Okay, so I've collected quite a bit of stuff. I found this fabric. It has these old advertisements on it. It's just plain nice, and I really wanted some on here, and I've collected these two pieces. So I'm gonna make a little collage on my cover. And I found this. I have no idea what it is, but that's nice as the background here. Then this is some jute that I will be placing like so. And I found some wool. I've dyed my own wool. And I've been laying this out before. And I cut this one in the first place. And I can't really find a place for it. It's too big. And the paper I was going to put on, then discard, and I decided to put it back on somewhere over here. And then I found this piece of fabric. This is actually canvas that has been printed on, and I will be putting it here. Now, because I'm going to make a tie closure, this I will be using as a tie closure, and I will fasten it over here, let it loose, have it wrap around, and then the end will tuck in like so. And I will use a button as a embellishment here. I would have to make sure that no main elements are in the way of my closure. So I found these guys yet that I want to put on something like so. Then it's out of the way of when I put my closure back in. I don't want to cut it yet because I don't know how much I'm gonna need. And this guy was gonna go over here like so. And then I don't really have a need for this, so I will discard this. Then I found this that I made quite a while ago. and I will be attaching this probably on the spine here as a dangle. Then I found this fabric. This is one of my hand dyes that I'll be using for in the cover when we are going to attach the book to the file folder. It will only be attached by a piece of fabric that is attached here to here, and this will be open so that you have a nice rounded spine that can go everywhere without obstruction of the spine itself. Maybe I'm gonna cover this with paper first, I don't know yet. We'll see how it all turns out. And I will also be wanting a pocket on the inside here, so I would need to sew something on my fabric before I attach it to my file folder. And I will do that by sewing. I like sewing, and maybe I will even attach the fabric to my file folder with the sewing machine. I'll come back when I've attached all this in the pockets, and then I will show you some more of how the construction goes. See you in a bit. I've prepared this for sewing. I have glued my end sheets, which in my case are pieces of fabric. So I've glued them loosely on my file folder. This is the front, this is the back, and I'm going to sew around here the edge, and I will include this piece of paper that will become a pocket, and then on the front I'll have another piece here also becoming a pocket. Now I will be bringing you to the sewing machine, and we'll do some sewing, and we'll right away also work on this. See you in a bit. Okay, I'll be sewing the collage on the front of the notebook first. I will be using a zigzag stitch, somewhat neutral thread, camera is on the same table, so I hope it doesn't wiggle too much. I have a black thread in the bottom that hopefully doesn't show up too much when I sew all the other parts together. Okay, I think now I need to use this one, somewhat like so. Take these off. Was it the other way around? Ha, don't even know anymore. Okay, this is where it goes. Okay, I'll be loosely sewing around everything. Just enough so that it is staying put. Okay, let me try something. I'm going to move the camera just a way back. Ooh. See if I can still see something. Okay, move the machine closer. Probably not going to help anything. I actually think this went under here. Okay, so two things I can do. Take this apart, which is a pain. Put this on here. Oh, it had to be under there. That is not cool. Let me see if I can unstitch this. Oh, that's gonna be tough. I'm gonna try anyway. Okay, kinda got it where I want it again. Okay, now I can attach this here. Okay, now the paper goes here and this will go here. So I'll pin this together so that stays put. If I sew here, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to sew over the fabric. Okay. Okay, the next thing I want to do is attach this little iron something. Found it somewhere in one of my boxes, so I'll be placing this on a piece of wool, and I've set my machine to the widest zigzag. Okay, that's not good. I'm just trying to find a center hole. That was it. Oh, there it is. Ha 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 ha. Okay, being very carefully, and I will be setting my stitch length to 0 so that my, okay, yes, I'm in the hole. So I'll be turn it around, move it over a bit. Okay, that should be holding everything together. Now, I'm not sure how I had this one. Okay, how about here? Yeah, sounds good. I'll be doing the same thing. And I'll be using my widest zigzag to just, okay, the wood. And I'm moving down here. Yep. Well, I don't think that is going anywhere. Maybe I will stitch around with a regular stitch, straight stitch. Just holding the wool a little bit in place. Okay. Now I actually find this is quite boring. Maybe I will add some buttons to this here. Okay, let's see if I have some nice buttons that will go there. Okay, so there's a few things that I have done extra. I found myself a bunch of buttons, and I used some cotton embroidery thread to make a chain stitch here, and I was not happy how uncontrolled my wool was, so I attached that with some random seed stitching, and then I hand stitched the buttons on as well with the same embroidery thread. Then I also attached the button to my closure, and now I am going to try to see how well it works if I put it now together. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of glue. To temporarily, well, it'll stay, but at least so that my fabric and cardstock don't move amongst each other.